Hello. This here is the fraud detective. I'm going to have some noise pollution here in this video. We're going to have to put up with it. But anyhow, I have a snapshot picture of Pat Benatar, or Pat Benabug. And you can see right here, right over here, her eyes. She's doing what you call a reptilian shitty. And notice that this eye, compared to this eye here, is they're just not the color of them has changed. And she first tried to get me when I was about 12 years old, someplace in California, and she had dump truck or garbage truck drivers to escort me to the landfill where she lived at. And she said, "I know that you're a songwriter, and I just want to get to know you." Well, she laid out her cobweb, and it took 2 or 3 years later, about 5, she finally entangled me to write her some songs, all for Grammys. And you can't, Geraldo, 2 herpetologists said that he was a certain type of lizard because of the way that he rolled his shoulder before he went into an attack. But this one here, Pat Benatar, has green vomit. She self-explodes her chest and showers people with green vomit when she is threatened. It's the same thing as sulfuric acid. It used to be on the internet, but I can't find it anymore. I can only find one species. But the stuff isn't really that toxic, I don't think. I've never had it on me, but I've seen her do it to other people, and it gets in their eyes and burn, and they're just fascinated looking into her chest to see some bug in there moving around. And every time I was with this Benatar group, I always had a taser in my back, or a stun gun to the back of my neck, and I could just never get wit of it, So I started loading up some of the songs with ammunition. We Belong to the Light is UV and green wavelength balanced to watt, and will show up Pat. She turns bitch and green in that light. And that's why We Belong to the Light. That was one of them. The other one was satellite sentries, laser sentries, like I'd kill these things off with. I seen her in Malibu make a thought bubble, sitting down on a chair, and that thought bubble, I'm sitting there facing her, and she's got her back to the city, and that thought bubble took over the city and made everyone pass out while she looked for these snack bugs. And these bugs are just horrendous looking. I mean, they have skin on them, and they're huge, and she eats them, and she has to go to black people to find their heads to trade kilos of cocaine or marijuana for them. She does not pay money. Excuse me. In Florida, we checked in at this hotel. We were just getting started, with the band, and the hotel management just hated the whole band. He said we couldn't figure out what they are, and I'm constantly being tasered, and you just can't gain memory or thought to it. You just keep on flashing out. The Florida invasive species came, and they had these big 4-wheel drive pickups, and they had their sirens on, and they had a whole convoy of them. And the drummer bit one of the guys in the leg, and it started to ulcerate and deteriorate in just minutes, seconds. And so everyone's worried he's going to die because, it's just rapid venom. And so they just used 2 straight cans of pesticides, some certain kind, and just sprayed the whole can, one can after another, hoping to apprehend the poison and break it down. Because I've seen another one of her FANG security guards out there who 2 girls caught on to it, that Pat's not human. and they ran out, and this guy banged them, and they're door guards. They hang around at the doors, and you think they're ushers or something, but they're door guards. Anyone who takes out before the concert's over is chased down. And this one guy went out there, or banged security, banged him, and I was just about 3 minutes behind him, because I say, hey, what is this shit, man? You're pulling off. Ran out there, and I found these two girls, their clothing, and there's a pile of rot there. And they had just almost totally decayed within 7 minutes. And so he says they're decomposing. I took out, I was carrying 245s shoulders on me, and I started pumping lead into the sick bastard. And I shot him 16 times, plus twice in the head. I blew off half his head, and he says, "Oh, there, I got to go home and change my clothes because people will see that I had bullet holes in my clothing and no blood, and they'll catch on." I said to him, "Hey, be sure to comb your hair. It looks like you got messed up on the way out, So anyhow, Pat Benatar, she, a lot of people come back from the concert and they say, God, she seems like the devil. Well, she is, man. She knocked out the whole city there to get it with a thought bubble. And she can knock out people, and do things. So, oh yeah, so the invasive species, and they came down there. I'm sorry, I got so much to tell that I cannot keep a straight story. But the invasive species picked her up, and they threw her in a spacesuit. And you could not see out of it. Anyhow, and they took her to Florida to a compound, and I went with them. They wanted to check my heart out and make sure that I was human. These things are not. And they threw Pat stark naked in a big modern bug can, and they showed her electronic images of flies, and her tongue would stick out 12 to 15 feet and try to laugh at it, and she was real good at catching those flies. And they were worried what kind of threat she is to flies, there in Florida. Imagine that. She is a threat to certain species of flies. So anyhow, I was laughing my head off at first, and then I started feeling sorry for her. She was so goddamn stupid. And, I wanted to catch a few flies to try to stick them on the images, so she'll keep on doing that so I can keep on laughing. But then they showed her a picture of a iguana lizard, and she hissed like a cat or a snake, either one you want to choose, and she was so intimidating that it had frightened me. So here you have it. Oh, and her name, Benatar, I assumed that she was a tarantula, and that's why I came up with her name, because we were first in this other Mormon slaughtering houses when we were just hooking up, and if you get out of those slaughtering houses, you get out without a memory, so you'll walk back into it. So I was going to have this zoo bitch here carry my memory out, as Pat's been a tarantula spider. You got to put that on the end, so you got to be a little bit, as a malleable word, been a tarantula spider. Well, I'm not certain just what it is. It's a zoogiss and you can zoogiss it and call it a reptilian. So there you have it. Don't go to any of their concerts ever, and don't let them go visiting hospitals for children, because I heard of one guy telling me that he was for some reason frightened about seeing Pat Benatar, and he took off. Whoops, I hope there's no dirty snaps on there. And he took off, and he was the only one who lived. Everyone else was dead. So there you have it. I hope you learned a little bit, and don't trust any celebrity. Okay, here we go.